Good evening, North Dakota and Minnesota. Jim Shaw, Forum Communications columnist, your guest host today right here on Down the Road with Joel on Beck. Want to give you an idea what's happening on the big shoe today. Our second half of the show, we're going to talk about COVID-19 with a man I consider to be an expert, Dr. Stephen Mcdonough. He's been tracking the infection rates in North Dakota, the vaccination rates, so we'll get an update from him and also his take on that. But first, I want to talk about a controversial issue that's coming out of Fargo, and that is there is an effort to recall 4 members of the Fargo School Board, something that hasn't been done in decades, if at all. And so I am pleased to welcome to the show Allie Ollenburger. Allie is the organizer of this effort. Allie, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Jim. I appreciate the time.
Sure, and just a little full disclosure out there. I have known Allie for quite some time. I worked with her for a few years when I was news director at KVRR-TV, the Fox station in Fargo. I worked with her. She was a production assistant. I was the news director. And she even babysat my kids. So with that, Allie, before we get to the specifics of what you're pushing, why don't you give us a brief background, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Sure. Thanks, Jim. So Allie Ollenburger, native Fargo resident, born and raised here, product of Fargo Public Schools myself, married with 2 kiddos. I've got Henry, who's 7, and Annabelle, who's 4.
Excellent. Let's talk about this recall effort. And before we talk about why you're going to do it, let's talk about how this works, because I think there's a lot of confusion. So how does this work? What do you have to do to recall 4 Fargo School Board members?
Yeah, so ultimately, all this is not like a witch hunt or a personal vendetta against any of these members. This is not a personal thing. This is let's bring everybody back to the table and let's take a pause and a recount, a recall, right? So we're just saying we're just going to re-vote on these 4 members.
And I guess what I'm asking is the specifics. How many signatures do we have to get? How does that work?
Yep. And so with the recall, it's 25% of the folks that voted in the election. And you have to collect those signatures in person. So North Dakota is not one of the states that you can do this online. So you have to have physical wet signatures. And then there's a petition for each person that's eligible. So with there being 4 members that are eligible, each person has their own petition. So if I don't get signatures for, say, Nikki Gullickson, and I get signatures for the other 3, we can submit the signatures for those. Once we have the set signatures, which is 4,144, because all 4 folks that are up were all elected in the same election. So they all need the exact same amount of signatures. And then everything gets turned into the business manager at Fargo Public Schools, Jackie Gapp. She sends everything over to the Secretary of State. They validate. They say, yep, you guys have reached the set number of signatures. We are going to now call a special election. That special election is called within 90 days. And then
90 days of when the signatures are certified.
Correct.
Okay.
Once the signatures are certified, then 64 days prior to the special election, anybody who is choosing to run for school board will have to submit their paperwork as well. So the 4 members that are recalled, they automatically go on the ballot unless they decide to resign.
And how is this signature drive going? Do you have a rough idea how many signatures you have so far?
Yeah, we're about 50% of the way there. Almost 50%. Some are at 50%, some aren't quite there yet.
Who are the 4 school board members we're talking about that you're trying to recall?
Yep, so Jim Johnson, Tracy Newman, Seth Holden, and Nikki Gullickson.
And as you know, there are 9 members of the Fargo
Correct.
School Board. Can you explain why the focus is on these 4?
So originally, actually, when we decided to do this, we as a group of parents actually decided that we wanted to recall Rebecca as the president. We said, leadership starts with the president. They're the one who is in charge of the culture and the tone of the board and how they go about their business. She's not eligible for recall, so we just chose...
Can you explain why she's not eligible?
Yep, so she's not eligible because she is up for re-election in June of 2022, and so by state statute, you have to be within 1 year. So that's why.
All right, so let's assume you get the signatures for all 4 of these people you're trying to recall. who would run against these 4 incumbent school board members?
Yes. So the group of parents, there's actually 7 now. Sorry, we had a meeting last night, so I wanted to make sure I knew. 7 of us that have raised our hand and said we are willing to run for school board. I am one of them. I, as a parent, will put my name in that hat and say I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody who's currently on the school board, but I do know that when we talk about some of the issues, and the biggest one of listening to parents, that's something that I absolutely am willing to do.
And who are the other 6?
I'm not going to disclose their names because they're not here with me.
All right. So when would we hear who the other people are who might be running?
So we would, obviously all of us would announce our names when that special election is called.
Okay. So the other, well, I guess there would be another 3 besides you. We won't know who they are until the signatures are turned in, and then there's an announcement, yes, there will be a special election.
Yep.
All right, I think we've got the logistics out of the way. Let's talk about the why.
Yeah.
Why are you going ahead with this recall effort?
You know, you'd asked me earlier today, Jim, like, how did I get to be the leader of this and how did I get involved? I was just a parent who was crazy frustrated, and I had so many questions, and I had no idea how to get any of my questions answered. And it wasn't that I was angry, I just wanted to understand what was going on, and nobody would engage with us. Nobody would answer questions. I sent 1,000 emails, I swear, till I was blue in the face, asking questions of the school board, asking questions of our administration, and nobody would answer. Nobody would answer, and I found that once I started talking to more parents, that I wasn't alone in that. And then I found out that our teachers also felt the same way. So you have a small group of folks making all of these really, really big decisions for our kiddos and for their future and for our community when we talk about education, and they're not engaging. They are not engaging in a meaningful dialogue. They are not answering questions, and it's not okay.
Well, what specific issues are you upset about? What has the school board done or not done that you feel is worthy of recalling these 4 Fargo School Board members?
Okay, so, I mean, we could sit and spend hours talking about each one of these issues, right? But a quick few highlights. So Jim Johnson, one of the key things that happened this year, and Jim's been on the school board for 20 years, so this is just one of, I guess, Jim's long list of issues that folks have called out over time here. He was removed as president for bullying, is one of the key ones to remind folks about that wasn't too long ago. The other one this year was around that school boundaries decision. That was, Jim is chair of that committee. There was a lot of ethical concerns as far as how the actual option got put in front of the entire school board. And then you just watch that school board meeting. They're all on tape. You can go back on YouTube and watch it. 11 different parents got up and said, this doesn't make any sense. Why are you sending these kids from clear across town 7 miles away to another school? It does not make any sense. Please do not do this. And the school board didn't explain. They didn't own any kind of accountability for it. So Jim or the rest of the school board, for that matter, nobody took accountability for it, and they just went ahead with the worst decision that was out there. And it's affecting a lot of families.
Well,
so that's the big one with Jim, right? With Tracy,
Can I just sing how we're
Yeah,
on the
sure.
school boundary issue? Okay. Fargo School District is growing to the south. It is not growing to the north. So wouldn't it make sense to fully utilize all the Fargo School District buildings where you have space on the north side and you don't have space on the south side, meaning you have to move those boundaries to fill up the north side schools, and that would prevent the south side schools from being overcrowded?
Right. And so there was 12 different options that were discussed at a committee level. This option that actually was approved by vote was the 9th out of 12 options. There was other options that were on the table that did exactly that, Jim, that looked at the buildings, how do we readjust them? And like I said, it's not, the decision that was made, it was a very poor decision, I will say, in my opinion. The other is that the way that the choice got on front of the entire school board, I can't speak to how it happened, but the way it has been told to me is that it happened in text messages, not violating open meeting laws.
Do you have proof of that?
Other parents do. I don't have it personally right here in front of me to give you, but I mean, we can definitely
Well,
get some of that.
yeah, I mean, if you're going to accuse them of violating
That's why
open
I said-
meeting laws, I think you need to come forward and tell us what you got.
Yes. So I will get with some of the other parents that have more of that information, and and if you need me to give that to you, I will.
Okay. All right. You were telling some more of the reasons why you were
Yep.
recalling.
So with Tracy Newman, she's a pediatrician, right? And I was actually super excited about having a pediatrician on our school board. I think that that's a fantastic, I think that she brings a fantastic lens to the table. Where a lot of parents are at is she's not the pediatrician of all of Fargo. So when she's up at the school board meetings and she's saying that it's this way, that there's no doctor that disagrees with her, that this is how it is, and that she now wants to make all medical decisions for everybody in Fargo. Whether or not you agree with the vaccine, whether or not you agree with the mask, she
has said she is the only one to make medical decisions for people in Fargo. She's actually said that.
When you're saying that it's mandated and that no doctor disagrees with what her stance is.
All right, but then she's attributing to other doctors. It's not just coming from her when she.
But what I'm saying is that as a parent, okay, you get to choose your kid's pediatrician, correct?
Correct.
And if you don't feel comfortable with your kid's pediatrician, you can seek a second medical opinion, correct?
That is correct. And also what's correct is we have to take a commercial break right now. So I hate to interrupt you in the middle of a good flow here, but I want to hear more about why you are looking to recall these Fargo School Board members. And we will do exactly that right after this short break.
Howdy folks, it's the Line Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey Bossin' breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at a salad bar, sink your teeth into our famous Line burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon rattling pie with a combo roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the game. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty.
You won't believe what ARW covers. Heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, flat screens and laptops, even pools and spas, and so much more.
Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
1-800-219-1467.
Hi, Hunter Ellis here for Night Hero Binoculars by Atomic Beam. These binoculars let you see anything, even in pitch black darkness. Gotcha.
The secrets are powerful wide-angle atomic beam laser that reveals objects up to 150 yards away, hidden by darkness.
During the day, Night Hero gives you 10 times magnification. And when the sun goes down, press the Night Bright button to see clearly in the dark.
Light up garbage-eating critters or spot thieves before they even get close.
Call or click now and get Night Hero binoculars for just $39.99. Order right now and you can double it. Plus, get our best-selling atomic beam flashlight. Just pay a separate fee. We'll even ship them to you free. This TV special offer is not available on Amazon. You can get it all, but you have to order now.
Call 1-800-619-1091. That's 1-800-619-1091. Or visit bynighthero.com. That's bynighthero.com. Order now.
Attention! Have you or a loved one suffered from maculopathy, a serious retinal injury, after taking the prescription drug Almiron for interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome? In 2018, a researcher at the Emory School of Medicine linked Almiron, a prescription drug that treats interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome, to maculopathy, which is sight-threatening and can cause an abrupt change of vision. Call Almiron Justice for a free legal consultation.
Please call 800-395-5680.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms. This drug remains approved by the FDA. If you or a loved one regularly took Zantac and were later diagnosed with cancer, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Potential cancers include bladder cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, stomach cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer. Do not stop taking a prescribed medication without first consulting with your doctor. Discontinuing a prescribed medication without your doctor's advice can result in injury or death.
Call 1-800-230-9210.
Welcome back to Down the Road with Joel. Jim Shaw, your guest host. I am a columnist for 4M Communications and a longtime television news broadcaster in the state of North Dakota. Our guest is Allie Ollenburger. She is leading the effort to recall 4 Fargo School Board members. When we left off, she was talking about why she's looking to do what she's doing. She was talking about a specific board member, Dr. Tracy Newman, so let's pick it up there. Allie, proceed.
Yes, absolutely. So you had asked, like pediatrician and everything like that, right? So Tracy has been on record at multiple school board meetings that she has said it's either going to be mandated masks or mandated vaccines. Now, North Dakota is a state that does have all, the different reasons as to why you can refuse a vaccine. But now is what her stance is that if they're not vaccinated, that they would need to be masked. And my concern with that, whether or not you agree with the masks or whether you agree with the vaccine, what kind of culture and environment does that create for our children in the school setting? Because now it's something very public, right?
Right. Let me just ask you, though, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but when the next school year starts in the fall, there is no policy, there is no requirement to wear masks for students, and there is no requirement to be vaccinated. Is that not correct?
So that's kind of so the superintendent, Dr. Gandhi, has been on record at school board meetings saying that the administration will not be the one to mandate those things. That will be coming from the school board. So right now, this plan has just been released. The school board has not met since that plan has been released.
But there is no plan to require masks or vaccinations as we speak today.
Right now, it's currently optional.
Okay.
And the school board can change that at any time.
At any time. They could change a lot of things. They could put 50 students in a classroom. They could shut down 2 schools if they feel like it.
Correct.
But is there? I have not heard. Maybe you have, of any effort to change that plan. So I'm just wondering if, unless I'm missing something, you can correct me. If there's no plan on the table even to require masks or vaccines, then why are you taking the step of trying to recall Dr. Newman?
So with her, it's honestly it's a prevention measure because she has been on record stating that that is her stance. And so whether or not she will or she won't, this is like I said, this is an assumption at this point in time. The assumption is that she will say that this is, because she's already said it, that is her stance, and so the school board has not met yet.
Well,
so
they meet every other week.
No, they do not in the summer.
All right, they meet every other week in the school year.
Correct.
And they meet in the summer, but I have not heard that this is coming up. But wouldn't it? And again, I'm just challenging you here. Wouldn't it be more fair to wait until this specific issue is actually put on the table before you go out and try to recall her for something that has yet to happen and yet to be proposed?
She's already been on record as stating that is her stance. So if that's her stance and she is on the school board, then there is parents that are very concerned that will be what will be enforced in the fall. And so it is a preventative measure. And like I told you earlier, I'm just one parent of a group of 10 that's the core committee, and we've got another 45 people that are out collecting signatures on our behalf. So this is not just me speaking, this is a collective group of parents that are working on this. The 2 other folks that we have that we're recalling is Seth Holden and Nikki Gullickson. Both of them sit currently on the Teacher Negotiations Committee. And so when we think about how those things have gone down this year, I don't know if you've taken a look at anything that's happened with the teacher negotiations meeting, but to sit there and propose what they proposed after a year like these teachers went through, I just don't understand where the common sense came into that situation.
What are they not proposing that you feel they should propose?
So they proposed an entirely new salary schedule that required our teachers to do 6 college credits paid for by themselves just to earn a $500 a year raise. Our Fargo Public Schools teachers have 70% of them have master's degrees. And when you think about how we need to be supporting these teachers, it's not just necessarily from a financial component, but we need to be treating them like people. We need to be treating them like the assets that they are. It's their job to educate our children. And if we don't support them in the ability to educate, they know what they're doing. Many of our teachers have been around for 20 years. They know how to educate. We need to support and create an environment that allows them to do that. Some of the things that are happening is like the behavior reports. So you've got administration saying that they want to be able to hold behavior reports against the teachers for racial inequities. You're saying that, and so then the teachers are not filing them, and so then the safety committee is not getting them, and then you're now having schools that are unsafe where, I don't know if you saw, you worked for the forum, so I'm assuming you saw the article in the forum about, what's happening at Claire Barton, where you've got teachers who are getting feces thrown at them. I mean, these are not appropriate conditions for our teachers, and let alone our kids.
Right. Let me ask you this. The Fargo Education Association, which is the
FEA, yep, the
which
union.
is the teachers union, are they supporting this recall effort?
So they are not allowed to because it is a political motion. So both the superintendent as well as the FEA is not allowed to go fight this battle because they're a union. So they're not allowed to go champion one way or another political measures. If you remember, it happened with it was like Measure 2 in Grand Forks. There was a whole big issue that happened with that a couple years ago. I don't have a ton of specifics, but I know that that's like the teachers can't go one way or another like the union can't. Now, that being said, if you are a member of the FEA or if you're a teacher at Fargo Public Schools and you live in the Fargo district, you are absolutely 100% able to sign the petition, and nobody can hold it against you or use it like a retaliation or anything like that. It's their rights to sign anything that they feel so to do.
All right. Now, getting back to the teacher negotiations, and I covered the Fargo School District for over 20 years, so I'm well familiar with this. There are things on the table, and then there are final agreements, and usually where you start is not where you end.
Correct.
So why don't you wait until we see what they end up with before going ahead with the recall? So
one of the key ones that was on the table this year was coming out of COVID, you have your elementary teachers they said, hey, we need you guys to monitor recess. And the elementary teachers said, yeah, we'll take one for the team. We'll do it this year. We understand, right? We got to keep our kids in pods and everything like that from a safety perspective. Well, now they want to make that general practice. So now you've got these elementary teachers who, 20, 25, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds. I mean, you've had young kids before, Jim. Like, can you imagine having that many?
I had 3 kids go through the Fargo School District.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, that's a lot of kiddos. And now you're saying that they're taking away these teachers' prep time to go monitor recess.
Right, but the question I have, because I have, again, I've seen a lot of contentious school district negotiations going to impasse, a lot of time, walkouts, insults, the whole thing.
So right now,
but why is this different? Why is this worthy of a recall when other, again, very difficult negotiations were not? A recall that's an extraordinary step to take.
Yeah, I get it. But as frustrated parents, if they were having conversations with us and they were explaining what they were doing and engaging the people that matter in our children's education, the parents, the teachers, if they were engaging us in those conversations, it might be a different story, but they're not. And when you talk about, like the negotiations of where they start and where they end, well, right now we're at a very, very pivotal point because the teachers do not have contracts after this last point of the year. Many of them can walk away. And when we talk about the elementary, the recess component, we're already starting to plan for the fall. So the schedules, if you will, could be set before they come to an agreement on this. And by the way, even if they come to an agreement, the administration can just go back and they can say, oh yeah, well, we already set the schedule, so we're just not going to this is no longer a part of the negotiations, and the elementary teachers just have to do this.
All right, we're running out of time, but I don't want to ignore an issue critical race theory? Is this a part of your motivation?
Some of the parents are very concerned about critical race theory. And so Seth actually, that is part of what he campaigned on. He's come out now again and said, yes, he supports looking at, systemic racism this way.
Has he ever said at a school board meeting that he wants to put this in the curriculum? It does not exist now. Has he ever said that?
He can't.
No, he has not.
He hasn't, not at a school board meeting, no.
Again, so if he hasn't said it at a school board meeting, and as far as I understand, he's not going to propose it at a school board meeting, then isn't this possibly an overreaction on your part on the critical race theory?
So I don't think that it's necessarily an overreaction, because when we look at Seth, yes, he is definitely in support of critical race theory. Seth was also on the School Boundaries Committee and supported the situation that happened with Jim Johnson. He's also on the Teacher Negotiations Committee. So it's not just a singular issue. And honestly, what's on the petition is failure to listen to constituents. Now, whether or not we agree or we don't agree with the decisions that are made by the school board, that's not the point. It's the fact that we need to have conversations.
All right, but you're criticizing him, and I know I'm way over, so I apologize. All right, but you're criticizing him on the critical race theory, saying he's not listening to constituents, but there is no critical race theory in the Fargo School District, so how can you say he's not listening when he hasn't put it in when you don't want it? So you could argue that he is listening, and maybe he has put aside his personal views because he doesn't feel that it should go in.
Well, then he needs to come out and talk to parents about that.
Okay,
Or make a statement.
We gotta leave it there. Allie Ollenburger, thanks so much. I know this is a very hot topic, controversial issue, and I appreciate you letting me challenge you about this. So good to see you again, and hopefully we'll see you again down the road. When we come back, we'll talk about COVID with the Dr. Fauci of North Dakota, Dr. Stephen Mcdonough, right after this break.
Hey everybody, I'm Doug Billings, your host of The Right Side with Doug Billings on Beck News. We bring you high-profile guests, ladies and gentlemen, exclusive guests. Now, you're not going to see these guests in most of the mainstream media outlets. Another thing that I do here is give guests a platform to speak freely. You're not going to see me censor anybody. Please join us, won't you? Weeknights right here on Beck TV and online at beck.news. Cheers.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream sheets. When you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Introducing the Cool Turtle, the ultra-comfortable mask enhancer that creates a protective, cool, and breathable space between your mask and your face. Simply slide under any mask or gaiter and immediately feel the refreshing pocket of air surrounding your face. Cool Turtle's ergonomically designed, soft, comfortable shell immediately reduces mask friction, allowing you to breathe and talk in a comfortable environment.
I can actually breathe. With the Cool Turtle, no more sweating.
It's like I don't even have a mask on.
Call now and get not one, not two, but 3 Cool Turtles for just $10. Order now and we'll send you 2 more Cool Turtles free. No fees, absolutely free. Plus, you can get a 10-pack of 4-ply face masks. Just pay a separate fee. This offer is not available on Amazon. Get the real Cool Turtle now.
Call 1-800-270-1219. That's 1-800-270-1219. Or visit getcoolturtle.com. Order now.
We're the ladies of Another View, bringing you a fresh view on local issues.
Thank you for your patience and understanding.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that the most condescending, rude email you've ever received?
Well, welcome to
National
the third term of a certain president. I really believe that.
And different perspectives you won't get on the mainstream media. Watch us weekday afternoons at 4:30 Central Time on Beck News and at beck.news.
Hey Bucks fans, if you're planning an outing, birthday, or employee appreciation night, then bring your group out to the Buck Stop for a night of fast-paced, high-scoring football. Your group will receive discounted tickets, options for reserved seating, scoreboard messages, VIP services, swag, and a space to gather during the game. You can also participate in pre-game ceremonies, halftime entertainment, in-game contests, and more. Call 701-595-0771 or visit bismarckbucks.com/tickets. All GA is first come, first serve. We'll see you on the turf. Go Bucks!
Glad to have you with us here on Down the Road with Joel, right here on Beck. Jim Shaw, your guest host, and I am here up until 6:30, or if you choose to watch it online, you can watch it on beck.news. Our guest right now is the man I consider to be the Dr. Fauci of North Dakota, the leading expert on COVID-19 in North Dakota, a real strong and powerful voice who we need to listen to and listen to constantly. His name is Dr. Stephen Mcdonough, longtime public health officer for the state of North Dakota, longtime pediatrician, just retired, enjoying the good life now. Dr. Mcdonough, welcome. Nice to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
So, I want to get a sense of where we are right now in the state of North Dakota when it comes to COVID. We know that cases are down, but it's still out there. We still have cases. We still have deaths. Where are we at with COVID in the state of North Dakota?
Well, we're much better than we were. We had the distinction for having the highest outbreak in the world last fall. So we're much better than that. CDC still has us in a moderate risk category, and there's ongoing community transmission. So there is COVID out there, much less than it was before. There's the new Delta variant, which is more contagious and more lethal. The good news is that the vaccines are highly effective, and they are very, very good at protecting those who are immunized. So those who are immunized have very little risk of getting COVID or serious COVID right now. Unfortunately, those who are not immunized are certainly still susceptible, and we have people in the hospital, people in ICU. There are 14 hospitalized today, 3 in the ICU, and some of those people hospitalized are in their 20s and 30s and 40s, or younger than they were earlier on in the pandemic. So the virus is out there. So the message is get your vaccine. If you're vaccinated, you pretty much can have a normal life right now. If you're unvaccinated, you should be wearing a mask. And unfortunately, most people are not wearing masks who are unvaccinated. And that's why you still are getting cases. Now, it was this time last year, which we were at our bottom of cases last June. And then we had the unfortunate problem last summer of spread in July and August, which was highly unusual. And that signaled a catastrophe that happened in our state, which overwhelmed our healthcare system, nursing homes, and public health system. So it is potential if we have gatherings over the 4th of July where people are not vaccinated and there's a Delta variant out there and people are not wearing masks, there'll be some more younger people who are, I'm talking people under age 50 and 60 who are going to get infected. So you still need to be careful. But to answer your question, we're much better than we were before, but we're not out of the woods, and we still need to watch what's going on.
All right, so let's talk about the vaccine. Where are we at in North Dakota with the numbers as far as people getting vaccinated?
Well, not as good as we were. We started off really good, but we have really dropped off, and we're like 39th in the country right now. So we're doing poorly compared to the rest of the country. We're less than South Dakota, which has had all sorts of problems with COVID, less than Minnesota. And we have parts of the state, particularly out west, where you got immunization rates of in the 30s to 40%. So it varies quite a bit throughout the state, but we're not doing as well as we were. We've got pretty good immunization rates in the nursing home among the residents, but the staff, there's some nursing homes that are really struggling to get their staff immunized, particularly in rural counties, and some rural counties that had devastating outbreaks in their nursing homes. So, and then young people, the immunization rates are quite low. And that, the teenage year, there's only one vaccine. There's 3 vaccines available. One of them, the Pfizer vaccine, can be given at age 12 and above. And, there's going to be a need to get immunization rates higher. I just don't think our state leaders have a good idea what the right approach to take is in a state that has so much anti-science, anti-vaccination, anti-masking, COVID denying that's gone on throughout the entire, pandemic. Now they're going to be struggling with that and the anti-vaxxing, and their messaging is not adequate, right? The messaging is, we can return to normal if we all get vaccinated. Well, we basically have already returned to normal, practically, and there are lots of areas of the state that aren't vaccinated. So there need to be better messaging. They need to do a better job in figuring this out. Otherwise, we could have some troubles this fall.
Let's follow up on that. Why do you think so many people in North Dakota are choosing not to get vaccinated?
Well, there's a variety of reasons. When I was still in practice, I had actually a large number of parents who came to me that did not vaccinate their children. So I've dealt with this with families for several decades. And in that age group, it was concerned over ill-founded concerns over developmental, autism, things like that, which have been refuted. But sometimes once those things get a hold, you have to work persistent with families to educate them and look for the opportunities to get some vaccines into kids. I've always gotten every vaccine I can get myself personally, and my entire family has. So I've strongly supported vaccines over the years, but you need to be respectful for those who have different opinions and work with them. And as time goes by, hopefully you can get some immunizations. Now that's on an individual practice basis, working with individual families. On a societal basis, we've had some big problems with the failure of the national leadership during this whole COVID pandemic right from the get-go. And the United States was one of a handful of countries in the world that the leadership was denying the severity of COVID and doing anti-masking. And we paid the price for that. Other countries like India and Brazil and Mexico did the same thing, and the consequences horrendous. Well, then the same conspiracy theory, refuting facts and truth, making up stuff about masks. The masks are highly effective. They're inexpensive, and we didn't do a good job, and hundreds of our grandparents died from it. People denied COVID. COVID is 14 times as deadly as influenza in our state. And if it was in a nursing home, it was 260 times as deadly. 1 out of 4 people in our nursing homes who got COVID died from that. And the same crowd that's doing the anti-vaxxing, that was doing the COVID denying and the anti-masking. And there's right-wing conspiracy folks out there that are well organized. And our state leaders, and not just government leaders, but other leaders, have done a terrible job of confronting that problem, and basically have rolled over and played dead and allowed this sort of stuff to go on, and to the point that they've passed legislation that's basically institutionalized. The next pandemic comes around, our health officer and governor can't protect our citizens with a statewide mask mandate. So, the leaders in our state don't know how to deal with the problem. They've ignored it, hope it would go away, and it's just grown. And a different approach needs to be taken. Otherwise, North Dakota, Western North Dakota in particular, will be the Alabama and Mississippi of the Northern Plains.
Dr. Mcdonough, sorry to interrupt. We are in need of taking a break right now. I do want to talk to you more about the vaccine and a topic that bothers me, the statewide mask mandate. So hang in there. I know you've got a lot to say, and we definitely want to hear it, but we have to pay the bills right now. So we will be back in just a couple of minutes. More with Dr. Stephen Mcdonough right after this short break.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors. Use your promo code, and for a limited time, when you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms. This drug remains approved by the FDA. If you or a loved one regularly took Zantac and were later diagnosed with cancer, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Potential cancers include bladder cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, stomach cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer. Do not stop taking a prescribed medication without first consulting with your doctor. Discontinuing a prescribed medication without your doctor's advice can result in injury or death.
Call 1-800-230-9210.
Seniors, are you aware that you could pay less for your car insurance?
Seniors can save money on their car insurance.
You might save a little, you might save a lot.
Maybe hundreds of dollars a year.
You might save 5% a year, maybe 10%, 15%, or even more.
That's a lot of money.
So call right now and find out just how much money you might be able to save.
1-800-699-0761. 1-800-699-0761.
Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty. You won't believe what ARW covers. Heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, flat screens and laptops, even pools and spas, and so much more. Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
1-800-219-1467.
Go for Launch 2018 series winner. Without further ado, it is my honors. Regiment. The winning team is the Flumin River Excellent.
Oh my God!
They won!
Welcome back. Nice to have you with us. Jim Shaw, your guest host on Down the Road with Joel, right here on the Beck Television Network. Our guest is Dr. Stephen Mcdonough, a real expert on COVID-19, probably the leading expert in the state of North Dakota, and very outspoken about everything. And we're delighted to get his expertise on this program. Dr. Mcdonough, my question for you is, all right, I know there is no legal requirement to get the vaccine, but from a medical standpoint, is there any reason for people not to get vaccinated?
There shouldn't be. My dogs are barking. Someone just rang the doorbell.
Well, get them vaccinated too.
But yeah, so the risk for those who should not get vaccinated are those who've had an allergic reaction to one of the components of the vaccine. So if you had a bad allergic reaction to the vaccine, which is very rare, you shouldn't maybe get the booster dose. So they are under certain circumstances where you should not get the vaccine, but the vast majority of people can get it. Side effects, these vaccines are highly effective. Side effects are minimal. There's been some publicity over clotting issues with a couple of vaccines and a condition where kids have had a little inflammation called myocarditis around the heart that's been very mild. But these risks are very low, very rare, and the odds of getting COVID and getting a complication for COVID are greatly exceed those minimal risk of the vaccine. So the vaccines are highly effective and safe. And most people, if they talk to their doctors, can get their doctor's recommendation about getting the vaccine.
Okay. By the way, I'm assuming with your dog barking, that means he or she is in agreement with you and wants to emphasize the need to get vaccinated. Is that what your dog is saying? Okay. All right. But the bottom line is, correct me if I'm wrong, and then I'll pivot to another question related to this, that the main reason that we are almost back to normal and that COVID cases have gone way down is the vaccine. Is that not correct?
Yeah, the vaccine, in fact, people were wearing masks before they got the vaccine. The mask really helped in reducing transmission and slow down the virus. The vaccine have really driven it down even further. So it's been the combination of masking and the vaccines.
Many states, North Dakota is not among them, have given incentives for residents of their state to get the vaccine. They've had lotteries and prizes and scholarships and any one of a number of things, tickets to amusement parks. Do you think North Dakota should have some kind of incentive program to try to increase people getting the vaccine?
Free admission to the state fair, free admission to the Medora musical, free admission to rodeos, free admission to NDSU and UND hockey games and football games. There should be lots of incentives. Basically, if you're vaccinated and then your kids who can't get the vaccine, but the whole family should be let in free as an incentive if you're immunized. And the state should pay these venues to pick up the costs for those tickets. Yeah, we should be massively incentivizing, and you don't have to do it like the lottery where the chances of winning are 1 in a million or whatever like that. Do it where most families who've been vaccinated can take advantage of that. I mean, that shows leadership, okay, which we have not had in our state, okay? We need to make it a great positive thing for people who've been immunized to get some, particularly in a state that has so many pockets of negativity out there with good public health. Yeah, we should definitely be incentivizing and being creative in that. And really it's up to the leadership who's been so, not so good in our state to step up and start being a little bit creative, and rather than cowering in fear and afraid that you're going to irritate some right-wing extremist legislator who's going to call and complain.
And you're convinced this would increase dramatically the numbers of people getting vaccinated in North Dakota?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we're in new territory here. This is a once in 102-year pandemic. I mean, what's the harm? I mean, you'll get some people who are ticked off who are not vaccinated. Well, why do I have to pay full fare to go to the Medora musical when people who've been vaccinated are getting in for free? Well, too bad, I mean, if you choose not to get vaccination, then pay the regular fare. But we ought to, I mean, there are multiple ways but then you have to be willing to take on the anti-vaccine community and show some courage. So, I mean, North Dakota leaders and state government, what are you going to do? Are you going to be content with 39th best in the country? I mean, below average in immunizations when we were the COVID death capital of the world? Or are you going to start doing something, okay? I mean, we have a great public health infrastructure in our state at the community level. Dickey County, which had the worst outbreak of a death rate of any county in the state, has the highest immunization level. They're up over 70%, the first county to do that. Foster County, another one that had a very high death rate. There are some counties that got 2/3 of their population immunized. Their public health nurses throughout this state are ready to give shots. They just need people coming in to get them. And we need to do a better job and be more creative than we've done so far.
Absolutely. Let's switch gears. Since the last time you and I have spoken, the state legislature has approved a mask mandate, a statewide mask mandate. I'm sorry, a ban. Let me back it up. A ban on statewide mask mandates. They will not allow the state to impose mask mandates like it did last November. What is your reaction to the state legislature banning statewide mask mandates?
Oh, I think it's probably one of the worst pieces of public health legislation in the history of our state. I mean, it'll be right in the top 5, whatever. I can't, we were the COVID death capital of the world, not just in the United States for 58 straight days, but we were the death capital of the world for a good month and a half until South Dakota knocked us off that pedestal, and they became the death capital of the world. So, basically they've institutionalized. They just won't admit to the mistake. We are in an era at the legislature of legislative leadership failure, along with executive branch failure, that led us into the situation that we're right now. So they basically said, we're okay with next pandemic coming, we'll have to slog it out at the community level where they don't have the data they do at the state level. We're going to have community heroes respond like they did during our pandemic due to the lack of state leadership. And basically, you're declaring open season for a virus and our residents in nursing homes and the elderly. That's what happened when you're anti-masking, COVID-denying state. We had hundreds and hundreds of unnecessary deaths of our grandparents. That's what happened. So it's abysmal legislation, and it's just a failure of the leadership to confront this right-wing extremists that are trying to enforce their anti-science, untruthful agenda on the rest of the public, and the ones who suffered from that are our grandmas and grandpas in our nursing homes, and it could happen again.
The legislature left the door open a crack, just a crack, because it would allow cities to impose mask mandates. Why is that not good enough?
Well, it's a virus that's in the world, in the entire state, and we should have a national approach. We should all, this basically right from the beginning, in January, when the information came out of China, it became evident that our response was all about saving grandma and grandpa. Okay, that's what we needed to do. And we did a terrible job. We decided to be one of the states that was going to be an anti-masking state, and we had hundreds and hundreds that died. The entire country should have had mask mandates back in June and July. We would have hundreds and hundreds of North Dakota grandmas and grandpas still alive then, but we didn't do it. And the trouble is that it puts, the state health department has better resources, the governor has better resources, and that's what happened. In the vacuum of state leadership, there were probably 24 North Dakota communities did their mask mandates, but we did them too late when we were all in crisis. We did them months too late. We should have done them when Minnesota and Montana did. They did theirs in July, and they had hundreds fewer die on a per capita basis. So if we would have done like Minnesota did, we'd have 500 more North Dakota's grandmas and grandpas alive right now. And Minnesota was far better than the country. We're worse than the country. And we have 13 counties in I think 11 counties in our state that had higher death rates than New York City. That's how bad it was in our rural areas. So yeah, the governor and the state health officer are there to protect the public health, and you've tied their hands. So we're going to, the next pandemic, we're going to be down dealing with the anti-maskers and whatever ridiculous stuff out there in every city and trying to do the best we can. And the problem, they may not be doing it soon enough, and we'll have another tragedy. It's ridiculous.
Dr. Mcdonough, we are out of time, but as always, I appreciate...
Get your vaccine.
Exactly.
You don't wear your mask.
Keep that message coming. People need to hear it. I so appreciate your strong advocacy and your strong thoughts about what we need to do to protect ourselves and to protect others in this state. So keep speaking out, and I look forward to talking to you again sometime soon down the road. Thanks so much again.
My pleasure. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you. And we'll be back with our final segment of Down the Road right after this.
Do you worry about going to the dentist? After all, a visit to the dentist can easily cost $2,000 or more. Well, relax. The Carefree dental card is now available in your area. Call now and we'll send your actual card at no cost today. With the Carefree dental card, you go to the dentist whenever you need and you instantly pay a lot less. Activate your card and you can start using it immediately. From exams and cleanings to more expensive procedures like crowns, dentures, even braces, they're all included with the Carefree dental card. Say you go to the dentist today without any card and your bill is, well, ouch. Wait a minute, let's try that again. You go to the dentist today and show your Carefree dental card, you save $525. The Carefree dental card is just $15.95 a month, so call now and make going to the dentist carefree.
Call 1-800-416-5739 to receive your Carefree dental card information kit. 1-800-416-5739. Call now.
I can't say enough good things about these nano hearing aids.
Real people talking about nano hearing aids.
The hearing quality is great.
Until now, hearing aids used to be too expensive for the average person. Until nano. Call now and you'll get your nano hearing aids for only $297. You'll save $100. When you buy one hearing aid, Nano will give you a second hearing aid free. Call right now.
1-800-213-3815.
Spas, etc.
You've come to know and trust us for over 18 years with the largest selection and showroom in Western North Dakota for our beautiful Sundance spas. Plus, you could pick out your next home experience with our selection of pool tables, shuffleboards, and fun accessories.
Spas, etc. Your relaxation destination on Main and Bismarck.
Who do you trust with your digital life? Not all cloud backup providers keep your data truly private. Beck Cloud Backup uses advanced multi-layer encryption to keep your family photos, videos, and sensitive business documents secure and only for your eyes. Your Beck Lightband Internet service already includes 50 gigs of free storage to keep your digital life safe and secure. Call us at 701-475-2361 to start using your Beck Cloud Backup today.
Attention! Have you or a loved one suffered from maculopathy, a serious retinal injury, after taking the prescription drug Almiron for interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome? In 2018, a researcher at the Emory School of Medicine linked Almiron, a prescription drug that treats interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome, to maculopathy, which is sight-threatening and can cause an abrupt change of vision. Call Almiron Justice for a free legal consultation.
Please call 800-395-5680.
Welcome back to our final segment of Down the Road with Joel. Jim Shaw, your guest host today. You know, Stephen Colbert has had his wife, Evie, serving as his production assistant, and I have my wife, Jackie, who is serving as my production assistant. Jackie Shaw, welcome back to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Well, of course. Nice to see you again.
Nice to be here in the studio again.
All right. I want to get your opinion on a question I asked Dr. Mcdonough. Do you think the state of North Dakota, where vaccination rates are below expectations and what we need, should the state of North Dakota have incentives like you win lottery tickets, or you win money, or you win scholarships, or you get tickets to the Medora musical or the state fair or something like that?
Absolutely. Anything that would help someone to push them over that edge that might be thinking, should I or shouldn't I? Oh, yes, I'd like to get free tickets for this or that. Yes, because, I mean, overall, it's just so important. The benefits far outweigh any negatives. In my personal experience of the vaccine, of getting the vaccine, I mean, in our lives together, where we have lost 3 friends of ours due to COVID and COVID complications, it's just, to me, it's a no-brainer to get the vaccine. But for those that are a little bit hesitant, if incentives work, great, do it.
Well, thank you. We're out of time, but that was a great answer. Joel will be back tomorrow. I will be back on Thursday talking about the legislature and the Trollwood show of Cinderella. Thank you all for joining. We'll see you on Thursday. Until then, bye-bye, everybody.